Well, welcome students. I hope you guys are doing okay, and I hope you did okay in the first exam, which was on all about angles. And so, welcome to the kind of our second unit, which is all about triangles. And as always, the very first thing I want you to do is always ask questions. If you have questions, be sure to send me an email and be very specific about what page in the textbook and which question it is. But go ahead and freeze the screen here or pause this recording for a moment, copy down everything you see on the screen, and then press play. Okay. I am going to talk to you about triangles. Okay. Triangles are our next shape. We had angles first, and in review, we had acute, obtuse, and all right angles, and all kinds of reflexive angles. Now we're talking about triangles. Okay. Um, as a definition, which you now have copied down, a triangle is it's a plane or a flat figure. So it's flat. That's kind of, we'll get into some three-dimensional figures here in a couple of weeks, but it's flat that has three sides. So all of these examples to the right here on my screen are triangles. And you'll notice there are all kinds of shapes of triangles. They can be in all kinds of directions. They don't all stand straight up or flat, but they have three sides. Okay, so it's a figure with three sides. And then, do you remember in the last unit when we were talking about angles, we wrote this symbol, and we could say angle A, right? Well, in this unit, we've got labeling triangles with a triangle symbol that looks like this. It's a little triangle. So, for instance, if you look over here to the right at this triangle that I'm pointing at with my arrow, I've got an A and a B and a C. So we can call this triangle ABC, and I would put this little triangle symbol in front of it, and that's how I indicate that this is a triangle. Look over here to the right at this triangle DEF, and you'll notice that there's the triangle symbol again, triangle DEF. Okay, so that's just a little bit about the symbols for triangles, what a triangle is. Okay. Now, on the bottom left of your screen here, representing a side of a triangle, sometimes in the textbook, it'll say something about the side. The side of a triangle is represented by two letters, and that should say the ends of that side. Okay, so let me tell you or show you what that means as a definition. And this should be THE. Excuse me here as I correct that. Look at this side right here, QR here of this triangle here. So you might see them say side or QS going across here, the side here. You might say in the textbook side QS. Okay, and it's just mentioning the length of one side of it. Okay, and in this case, it's the longest. And I've got a little note here at the bottom of this first screen that says the longest side of a triangle is always opposite the largest angle. Okay, so if we pause and take a look at this triangle that I'm pointing at here, the largest angle here is this angle R here. It's the largest one, okay? And the side opposite it is side QS. So that's all that little blue note at the bottom of the screen is indicating for you, okay? All right. I think what I'm going to do is try to go a little bit bigger on my screen and see if this helps you. No, that's not going to help you. So just 1 second while Okay, this is a new slide, so I want you to go ahead and pause my recording, copy down everything you see on the screen in your notes, and then start the recording again, and we will talk about what's going on here. All right, representing an angle of a triangle. Okay, so an angle is often represented by the angle's vertex only. Okay, so what that means, we're talking about an angle here. Okay, and then it's got this word vertex, and you might remember from before, the vertex is where things come together here, right here at the vertex, this point here. That's the vertex of two lines, okay, creating an angle. So sometimes we might look at this, and you might have directions that say, what is the measure of angle E? of this triangle EFD, okay? Or what is the measure of angle D? And so just be aware of that's the language they're asking for that particular angle. If I said D, it's this one right here, okay? All right, an example in DEF, the 30-degree angle is labeled D or FDE. So we're coming over here and looking at this angle right here. It could be angle D, okay, or angle FDE, and you'll remember the one you put in the middle is the actual angle that we're looking at, okay? All right, it's about 10 minutes of me talking. I want you to pause this recording and complete numbers 1 through 15 on page 43 of your textbook, and then we'll pick it up as soon as you're done with that homework. You can press play again. All right, I'm going to pick it up again. All right, the sum of angles in a triangle. So go ahead and look at the screen, pause it, copy down all these notes, and then we'll pick it up again in 5 seconds here. All right, the sum of angles in a triangle. So here's a rule. This is a really important rule for you to remember, okay? When you look at my triangle that's over here on the right here, this triangle right here, ABC. In every single triangle, this is a rule, the sum of all three angles, and sum means if you add them all together, okay, is always going to be 180 degrees. So that's kind of a magical rule that helps us figure out other angles, since we know the total of all of them is 180. So if I add angle A over here on the right, plus angle B plus C, it will always add up to 180, no matter what the shape of the triangle. Okay, that's a rule. Okay, so you will see some example problems in your homework, like this one at the bottom here. What is the measure of angle F in the triangle DFG? All right, let's go over here and look at this triangle that I'm pointing at with my arrows here, okay? What is the measure of angle F? Now, we can figure this out, okay? So first of all, you've got angle D, angle F, and G. So they're looking for this one right here. They're asking for this angle right here. I'm gonna put a question mark right here, okay? Here's how we would do this. Step one, okay? Add D and F, add angle D and angle G, okay? That's this one here and this one here. Add them together. So 32 plus 47 is 79 degrees. These two add together to 79. Now, think about it logically. If 79 degrees are taken up out of 180 total, all I have to do is subtract 79 from 180, and I now know what angle F is. And so if you look at step 2 at the bottom of the screen here, to find angle F, subtract 79 from 180, and you get 101 degrees. Okay? So again, all I did was take the two angles they gave me, added them together, and asked myself, oh, well, that's that much. The only thing that's left is what would add up to 180. So if I subtract my total from 180, then it will give me the correct answer. All right? Let's go on to our next slide. And go ahead and I'll pause for 5 seconds, copy down everything here, pause the recording. Okay, this is an example problem that you might run into here, okay? What is the measure of angle D in the right triangle, DEF? Okay, so I'm looking at this triangle, right? This one right here, okay? What's the measure of this angle D down here? And all right, let's look at what we've got here. If I just look at, before I even read my directions here, I've got, you remember this from before, this is a right angle here going on the screen. And a right angle is 90 degrees. So even though it doesn't spell it out as 90, I know that letter E, that angle E there at the bottom left, is 90 degrees, okay? So here's my step. Step 1 is to add angle E and angle F together. Remember that an angle E is 90 degrees. So over here, I've got the kind of like, I wrote it out like an equation. And by the way, As a math student, I want to really encourage you to go slow and write each step out, especially now that we're trying to solve for something that's missing. I have found, having taught math for many years, that the students who take their time actually go faster. How is that? Because they actually get the right answer quicker and they don't get confused somewhere because something's missing they forgot to do. Okay. So they actually go faster. So angle E up here at the top, angle E plus angle F, so that's 90 plus 36, gives me 126 degrees. All right. That's between those two angles. Now, if I want to do step 2 to find angle D, all I have to do is subtract that 126 from 180, because remember, all the angles add together to be 180. Okay, so angle D is 180 minus 126, which is, here's my answer, 54 degrees. Okay, so that's how, in a problem like this one, at this triangle at the top here, that's how you would solve it. Look at what they give you, add those together, get an answer, and subtract it from 180. All right. I want you to pause the video and complete the problems on page 1, or problems 1 through 12 on page 45 before you go on to the rest of this video. All right, I've got some practice problems here. I want to show you what some of the story problems would look like, okay? And so this will help you because students often struggle a little bit with story problems. And so let me just go ahead and look at the first problem. Problem number 1, a shelf makes an angle of 48 degrees with the wall. What is the measure of the angle the support makes with the shelf? Okay, so I've got a nice drawing that I created over here that illustrates that. And by the way, anytime that you have a story problem that just has words, but there's no picture, best thing to do is always to draw it out and create a picture, especially in geometry. Especially it works well in geometry, better than any other math class even. And so I've got I've got a shelf and I've got a 48-degree angle here, and it wants to know this question mark. What is this angle right here? Okay. So how would you solve that? Okay. Well, if you're thinking, I think I kind of know here that this is a 90-degree angle here. So, okay, how would I do this? I could go 90 degrees plus my 48 degrees. I could add those two together and I'm going to get 13. Okay, 138 degrees. And I'm going to take 180 degrees, which is the total. Okay, because I've now figured out what these two are right here. Okay, I've added them up together, what they are. I'm going to take that total and subtract it from 180. Do the math just like that. That's an 8 there. And that should get me to, that's a 7, and that's a 2, 4, 0. 42 degrees. Okay, so my answer is 42 degrees. All right, problem number 2. To properly cut a greenhouse roof side piece, what is the measure of the third angle Janice needs to know? All right, so I know unless the picture was here, that would be kind of a confusing problem. But if we look at the picture, we can go, oh, okay, I can figure that out. I can go, and I won't actually do it all for you, but I can take 67. And what's this angle right here? It looks to me like I got a 90-degree angle. Add those two together, get a total. Subtract that answer, that total, from 180, and that gives me the answer to what this missing angle is here, okay? All right, after you've listened to this much of the video, I want you to complete problems 3 through 8 on page 47 of your textbook. And I think that brings us pretty much to the end of this slideshow. So yeah, that brings us to the end. So and then once you've done your homework, you're certainly welcome to move on to the next video.